This is Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate, the podcast where we cover home buying, home selling, home improvement tips and ideas, market trends and developments, and investing in real estate. If you own real estate in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, or want to own real estate here, then you're in the right place. Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate is hosted by Blake Watson, a real estate agent and investor in Tennessee and Georgia, brokered by eXp Realty, LLC.
Welcome to Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate. I'm Blake Watson, a licensed agent in Tennessee and Georgia and brokered by eXp Realty, LLC. My guest today is Lindsey Wood. She's the branch manager and senior loan officer from Mortgage Investors Group. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's good to have you here, Lindsey. Today we're talking about some state-specific down payment assistance programs and loan programs that are really designed specifically for first-time home buyers. And not just that, but there's some special categories or classes of employment that may help people as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me about the Georgia Dream program for Georgia residents.
Sure. The Georgia Dream program is a first-time homebuyer program in the state of Georgia. There is two options for the first-time homebuyer program, depending on what job you do and the people that are in your household. The first one is the standard program, which gives you 5% of the sales price to help out with down payment and closing costs, up to $10,000. The second one is the PEN Choice program, which gives you up to 6% of the sales price, up to $12,500. Now, the PEN program, what that stands for is protectors, educators, and nurses. So it's going to be anyone in protection, so prison guards, police officers, military, anyone like that. Educators, anyone that works for state licensed education facilities. So it could be the front desk at a school. It could be a teacher, it could be a professor, anyone like that. And then nurses is anyone in the healthcare field. So not necessarily just nurses. It could be, like I said, someone that works the front desk at a doctor's office, as long as they're working for a state licensed healthcare facility. The choice program is if there's anyone in the household that has a disability. And so in that case, you would also get the 6%.
When I was learning about the Georgia Dream program, one thing that really struck me was that your employer category, it really mattered who wrote your check to you. It didn't matter what your title was.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you work for the school system in any
bus driver that, was employed by the school system, they would qualify for it. But if they're employed by a transportation company, they would not qualify.
Right. Now, there are some income limitations, I realize, and some purchase price limitations.
Yes. North Georgia, which is going to be most of the counties around us, the sales price limit's $297,000, and the income limit for a family of 1 to 2 is $74,500. 3 or more is $86,000. So if you're buying, closer to Atlanta, there's certain counties that have a little bit higher income limits, but around this area, that's mostly what you're going to see.
Are there any other qualifications necessarily?
Really, the only one is you need to have at least a 640 credit score. So that's kind of what their benchmark is. The better your score, the easier it's going to be to qualify, because you're going to have different ratio requirements based on where those credit scores are. So 640 to 659 is going to be the toughest. Then 660 to 699 is different. And then 700 and plus, you can do pretty much whatever I can get an approval for. So it just depends on where that income is, where that credit score is, and pretty much that's it.
I realize with all loans that debt to income is a very key number.
Right.
When you were talking about ratios, I presume you're talking about how much debt someone may have?
Yes. So there's two ratios. There's a housing ratio and a debt to income ratio. The housing ratio is what your house payment is in relation to your income. The debt ratio is all of your debt, including a house payment, compared to your income. So the housing ratio is not as big a deal. There is limitations, but the debt ratio is usually the one that really limits what you can buy. Because we're going to take, all your car payments, student loans, even if they're in deferment, we have to count a payment. Any credit cards, anything that you have like that, we're going to count towards your debt to income ratio. So if you have a 660 credit score, we can't go over 43% of your income with Georgia Dream. With a 700, I can maybe push that to 55%. So that opens up a whole lot more options for you.
And I know there are programs such as USDA that are geographic in their concern.
Right.
But the only geography is the state of Georgia, I guess.
Exactly. It's anywhere in Georgia. They do not lend on manufactured homes. So that is one issue that they don't really like to do. Modular homes, which are a little bit different than manufactured homes, there's only certain ones that qualify. And I don't think there's any builders in this area that do it correctly for Georgia Dream. So it's going to really need to be a stick-built house.
Okay. When we talk about down payment assistance from this program and perhaps from THDA, down payment assistance is basically another loan, a second mortgage?
It is. It is a second mortgage with no interest and no payment on Georgia. Tennessee, it's going to be a little bit different. We can talk about that one in a second. But with Georgia, it's no interest, no payment. Just kind of sits there till you decide to refinance, sell, or move out, and then it would be due.
Okay. That money it's on the books, but you're not making a payment on it.
Exactly.
And you don't have to worry about it until you sell the house or refinance.
Exactly.
You move on, whatever. Are there preferred interest rates being offered through these?
Georgia Dream right now, the interest rate is 6.125. Going rate for FHA today is about 6.25, so it's slightly less. If you have a lower credit score, it's going to be even higher than that. So it does have a good benefit as far as the rate goes.
Okay. Now, would we have mortgage insurance on that as well?
There is mortgage insurance. Georgia Dream's actually used in conjunction with another loan. So that first mortgage would either be FHA, VA, USDA. With those, it's mortgage insurance for FHA is there for the life of the loan. Same with USDA. It's not mortgage insurance. It's a guarantee fee, which is monthly.
That's right.
VA, you have an upfront funding fee, and then there's not a monthly fee. So it depends what loan you use in conjunction with the Georgia Dream.
Very good. And of course, that's why we come to you. To learn this, to figure out all of these details with the lending. But it's important to know that these programs are available and that there are these benefits to any new homeowner. I understand to become a new homeowner means you cannot have owned a house in the past 3 years.
Correct.
And once you've gotten past 3 years,
you're getting your homeowner virginity back.
You're back to new. That's great.
Right.
So tell us about the Tennessee programs.
Sure. Tennessee program is called THDA, which is Tennessee Housing Development Agency. There is 2 versions with them as well. The first one is with a payment. You get 5% of the sales price. It's going to have a payment based on the interest rate that is equal to the first mortgage over 30 years. The second one is $6,000 with no payment. So it just depends on how much money you need, which one you're going to want to use. The rate for THDA right now is 6.375. And if you are a veteran or a first responder, the rate is actually 5.875, so you get a benefit for being a first responder. It is anyone that you would get when you call 911, so not necessarily nurses, doctors, that type. It's going to be EMTs, paramedics, police officers, firefighters, that type of thing. The limit for that sales price, $400,000 in Hamilton County, which is a little bit higher than Georgia Dream. And the income limits are a little bit higher too. 1 to 2 people's $86,270. 3 or more is $99,210. So, and that's based on who's on the loan, not the household like Georgia Dream.
That's interesting because with the difference in the programs, there could even be a decision as to whether they need to live in Georgia or Tennessee.
Absolutely. And I've had people that, come in and they're like, we want to live in Georgia, and they're over the income limit. And then they say, oh, well, we can go just over the line and qualify for THDA, which is definitely a good thing because you can get in for no money.
Yeah, I love it because we have both options available right here in our community. That's a great thing. For THDA, how does the down payment assistance work there as far as repayment? Yeah,
if you pick the one that's the 5%, it is a second mortgage payment, and it's going to be based on the same rate as the first, so 6.375 or 5.875 over 30 years. So, if you get $15,000, that payment's going to be around $100, give or take. And you get help with that, so you don't have to come out of pocket whatever you don't have. A lot of people, that's the biggest issue, is a lot of people don't have money for down payment. So this kind of overcomes that obstacle for them.
Now, are there some minimum amounts of down payment that you actually need? I know in Georgia, you have to invest a small amount.
Yeah,
maybe
in
$1,000,
Georgia, you need
$1,500.
$1,000 minimum. In Tennessee, if the seller helps with closing costs, you can get in for nothing.
Wow.
It's pretty big.
Pretty big programs. Yeah, these are great programs. And I don't know how many people know all, I mean, they don't know all the details. I mean, that's your job to know all the details. But it's exciting to know that they're available.
Oh, yeah.
And that a first-time home buyer who doesn't have a large amount of money saved up for a down payment, they're able to get into a home and own the place.
Exactly.
It's a great thing.
And it could be that your payment is cheaper than rent, which is a huge thing.
Do you have any stories you can share with us about maybe some success stories in either one of these programs?
Sure. I mean, I have many that I have talked to that did not have the credit score that they needed. And I gave them some tips. They listened to what I said, and a year later, they're in their own house. It's super exciting because they call and think, oh, I can't do anything, but it doesn't hurt to call and check, because it may be that you think you can't, and I tell you can.
Yeah, that's right. And I love what you're saying there is that they've gone online, they have their credit score, or at least they have one that they were able to acquire online. And it may not be the exact same number you're going to get, but still they have a credit score.
Right.
And they think they may be able to qualify, or maybe they don't think they can. But if they come and talk to you, then you may be able to help direct them.
Exactly. And sometimes it's a matter of, getting a secured credit card and waiting a month for it to report, and then you'll have the score that we need. A lot of people don't realize what needs to be on a credit report to get scores that you need. They go out and get unsecured loans, which actually hurt your credit score. So if you can find something easy that you can fix in a month and then be ready to buy a house, why wouldn't you want to take that step?
That's right. I can do this month, and next month be shopping for a home.
Exactly.
That's great. I realize we have to have not owned a home within the past 3 years. Mm-hmm. Do you have many people that they've owned a home in the past, then they've been renting for 3 years or living with family or whatever, and then they come back and now they're once again a first-time home buyer?
I do. And, I've had people that owned a home and then went through a hard time and may have had a property foreclosed upon or had to file bankruptcy and had to rent for a while and build their credit back up and come back and are able to be a first-time home buyer again and get in for no money and get back on the path, because sometimes you have hard times and you just need a little bit of help to get back where you want to be.
That's a great benefit. That's a great service. I mean, it's exciting to know that this is all out there. I know there's some education available through both of these programs for financial abilities and things like what you're just saying, helping with your credit score even.
Absolutely.
How do those educational elements work into these programs?
Okay, yeah, for both of these programs, there's a first-time homebuyer class that you have to take. The certificate is good for a year, so if you want to go ahead and take it, you can. It just kind of helps you with budgeting, knowing what you're getting into when you buy a house. They're at eHomeAmerica.org/DCA for Georgia Dream or /THDA for THDA. And it is online. Then somebody will call and do a 1-hour counseling session on the phone with you, talking about budgeting and things like that, to see if it's even something that you're interested in. You may take this class and think, nope, I'm out. I want a landlord to fix my stuff. I don't want to deal with it. And that's totally fine. But like I said, it doesn't hurt to try.
Right. It doesn't hurt to give you a call and talk it through. That's
Absolutely.
Exactly right. If someone is a first-time home buyer, these two programs are available. Are there other programs or other loan products that you use a lot for first-time home buyers?
I use the USDA program a lot, which is it's rural housing, so it's going to be more of your outer lying areas. The income limit for that is going to be higher. 1 to 4 people in a family is $110,650. So it opens up a little bit, but it is for the rural areas because they're trying to stimulate activity out there. It is 100% loan. you get the seller to help with closing costs, you get them for nothing. So that's a really great program. Very competitive interest rates, probably low sixes right now. There's also, if you're able to do 3% down, there's a conventional program that allows 3% down for first-time home buyers. So there's lots of options to be had out there.
Lots of options, each one with its own benefits.
Yes.
And each one maybe with its own restrictions.
Absolutely.
There you go. Well, Lindsey, it's been great having you on the show, and I appreciate you sharing all this great information with us today.
Well, I appreciate you having me here.
How can someone reach you and contact you if they want to look at buying a home and getting themselves ready financially?
Sure. You can call me at my office, 423-899-2887, or you can send me an email, lindsey.wood@migonline.com. It's lindsey.wood@migonline.com. We can connect that way.
Awesome. Well, Lindsey, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm Blake Watson, agent with eXp Realty. My mobile phone is 423-315-1815. And my brokerage office phone is 888-519-5113, extension 1241. Find me on Facebook and LinkedIn as Blake Watson and on Instagram as Rock and Roll Blake. My website is realestatebyblake.com. Please subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss an episode, and I look forward to talking with you next week on Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate.